Welcome to Emiy TV. You guys go over to Podcastic. Those of you watching on live, you can catch it over at Podcastic. Maybe you could switch your phone and share the Podcastic. You can't.
Have my phone.
You ain't got your phone?
I don't have my phone.
You left your phone? Okay. So today we're talking 15 years, right? And welcome. I'm glad you guys stayed on. We're talking 15 years. What's up, Wood? Sorry about your niece, man. You know, I've been through it, man. Love you and your family, man. If there's anything that we can do, let us know. Man, 15 years, right? 15. And tomorrow would bring it all ahead. And because, you know, I always had this vision of doing something really big, but we didn't have it. We didn't have it in the budget to really throw this big soiree. You know, I often say to her, I say, if we was working with girls, this thing would be off the hook.
Yes, you do.
Right. But because we work with boys, seeding in the lives of boys to the restoration of family, and we work with all youth with our awarenesses, but more importantly, we do this work most definitely because we have seen boys in the position that they're in, and we have to do a better job. But over the 15 years, it wasn't always like that. So I want to start this story, all right? Here's one, right? Encourage me, I'm young. At one point in time, myself, Rodney is in Atlanta now, and we decided we was going to do a girls program, right? Where we was going to add girls. And right, we sought out some sisters. I'm not telling you their names. We sought out some sisters to come together to, you know, put together a girls program and everything. And needless to say, it was drama filled. So that's one of the main reasons why we stayed with the boys, right? It was just way too much. Another, well, you know, along the way, in the building is the engineer Dro and the Queen. Y'all, the Queen is in the building. And
Good day, good people.
And
Happy to be here.
We are reminiscing. So here's a great story along the way, right? And then I'm gonna let her say something. Thanks, Wood. Right. So I think it was 2009, right? I'm driving in the car, and I tell this story because it's hilarious. I'm driving in the car, and I hear this voice come over the radio, and I'm listening to the radio, and the voice is all about, you know, helping in the community. Come on down to Vanguard, CDC. We'll help you if you got a business, this, that, and the other. And, you know, workforce development, right? That's what they were in, right? That's the right word, workforce development, right?
It was, at the time, it was business and economic development for me.
Right, okay.
Yes.
So business and economic development for the Queen, right? And so I, at this time, hey, by the way, I got that 4Runner, met my goal. So at this time, I got a great 4Runner, right? So I pull up, and I pull up to this place, and I come in with my kids. I got Cam and Dominique in my arms, and I sit them down, and I'm like, I'm here to learn about this business thing. And so she sits down, and they bring over Heather Miller, right? So I'm like, oh, okay. So we sit down, and we started talking. Well, needless to say, it developed into a friendship, right? And we had always been friends. And kept it that way, right? And so that was the beginning. Right behind that, we were grabbing boys left and right, and then we turned around and took the application in like 2010 or 11. We grabbed 350 boys on the east side, right? Because they was picking up kids on the Ritz. Right, so that's
explain what a writ is.
A writ is a juvenile felony. It's something that'll stay there, and if they want to, they can come back and pick you up and activate it anytime they want.
And who's the they?
It's the law, the police, the law. Some of us, right? And I've seen where, you know, incorrigibility was a reason that we take our sons in. Our sons, in the juvenile, boys put their hands on adults quite often, and that's another way for them to be in the system. But needless to say, today is about good things, right? And it's about what Encouragement Young has accomplished. And 15 years. Go ahead, say what you got to say. I know you got something. I know you got something to say.
Well, what I think it might be important for people who are a part of this journey with us is really, I would like to start with some of the schools.
Okay.
Because I know Emiy has a cross path with a number of schools over the years. So I'm going to call out some that I remember, and then you call out some that you remember.
Okay, let's go for it.
Okay, so and I might be too rusty myself. It was the one where you were invited to speak about boys. It was elementary school boys and their friendships.
Charles H. Wright.
Charles H. Wright. Yes. I was looking at the video because I was actually there videotaping. There were probably about between maybe 60 and 100 elementary school age boys.
Yes.
And they were all sitting in their cafeteria. And again, they were there to talk about their friendships and relationships. And it was amazing to see all of those boys, and we're talking elementary school boys. They were so captivated by Calvin and some of the things that he was sharing. Some of them were actually dialoguing. He started talking about, how to use your time when you play video games. Like it's not supposed to be your full day. And so it got into a little bit of a dialogue. Well, it takes this long to do this kind of game, and he was like, that's important. He said, I understand that that's important to you. So what you should consider to do is frame your time differently. So use part of your time doing this, part of the time spending with your family, part of the time spending on homework, and when he started breaking it down, I mean, they were like hanging on every word. And I said, wow, what is it about Calvin Mann where he can relate to boys even at this age? And they were talking to him, and on the way out, they were lined up. The teachers had lined them up to take him out. He was standing at the door. Some of the boys reached out and was hugging him, giving him some dap, and it was just like they came in to a stranger and they left out with a mentor. And it was just an amazing thing to witness, especially with that many boys, with one adult male in the space. It was one adult male in the space, and I think it may have been like maybe 5 or 6 female teachers, managing their classes. But I mean, not a lot of distractions, interruptions. And when there was an interruption, Calvin brought the 2 boys up who were having they were having their own discussion. And so he asked them, what was the conversation about, and what was so important. And their conversation was about the very thing that we were talking about, which was their friendships. So I think, a benchmark like that, and it was a awakening for me to see that and to see the chemistry between Calvin and 100 boys. Some said some things, some didn't, but whether they said anything or not on the way out, everyone wanted to make sure that they touched him on the way out. That says a lot that I think some of us are missing about the impact of a strong, healthy man in an environment that other males who are looking for something to model can see. I mean, and if you just want to stand by somebody, touch them on a way out the door, that was huge to me. So I was happy to be there to witness that.
That's awesome. Thank you. Gift or legacy, I attribute it to my family, and I attribute it to my experiences, right?
Absolutely.
And then being 100 with males, right? My friendships, as we were talking the other day, I got friendships of all cultures, right? And they're authentic friendships, right? As soon as we pick up where we left off. As soon as we see each other, the loyalty, you can't. Remember, I told Miles, if it's the one thing I said, the one thing I can give you is loyalty. You can't really buy what I got to offer. right? So, we're sharing that, but that's just one of the beauty of a number of things, right?
Of a journey.
Of a journey, yeah,
Absolutely.
right. And we talk about these things in a way a lot of people don't understand. Was talking to a friend yesterday, doctor, right, and we were having a conversation, and so when he looked at the website, he said right away, he was like, "Oh, you just work with African American boys?" I said, "No, we work with all boys." I said, "The problem is that people's prejudice get in the way, right?" Well, he said, "What do you mean?" I said, "Well, people's prejudice, right? You got to remember, people are prejudiced toward black males. They have these preconceived notions about black males. I'm a black male, so they see a certain thing." I said, "It was strange, though, on this journey, University of Michigan, when they were finalizing our program, certifying our program, the lady said, this program is for more than just black males." I said, "You're kidding me, right?" And she's like, "No, seriously." And so then when I dug into her background, she discovered that, the diversity is who I am, is what God made me. God didn't give me a vision of division. He gave me a vision of leadership. And then that process, what happened is that she learned a lot more. Too many people on your favorite word is surface. Too many people on surface. They look at encourage me. I'm young, and they just look at it on the surface, and they might look at me, Dro, or they might look at Heather, right? And they see two people passionate the whole nine, but they don't go beyond. And when they get behind the scenes, they see it's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work, and we are willing to put in the work. We're not by ourselves. We're talking board members: Jamie Gabriel, Angela Prince,
Yes.
Robert Whitey, Ty Grizel,
Mavita
Burris, advisory: Cornell, Mann, Jewel Chapman, Stacy Hunter,
Yes.
Lawrence Jackson. So we, and our support system is growing.
Right.
Right.
We have Latrice Herring is a part of our team.
Right.
Jennifer Johnson is a part of our team.
Yeah.
Rita Andrews is a part of our team. I mean, I guess sometimes people think that what we do is easy.
Yeah.
But they don't understand, one, that this is a long-term strategy. It is not just a local vision. This is about a global movement.
Facts.
And that we move, and how we move is really important. So we're going to talk about the outlook of where we are and where we're going to. So we're just kind of starting out, giving you a glimpse into our past. I just want you to talk about one more school. So if you can talk about Highland Park.
Oh, so
Yeah.
So, great story. Jared Davis just took my son's senior pictures. Jared Davis was the principal. Now, along this journey, Jared Davis was the man over principal at Highland Park and Finney. And so, Jared Davis was the one who saw, right, an opportunity for us and brought us in. And the first time we come in at Highland Park, and he gave us the whole sophomore class. So I had the whole sophomore class at his high school, right? And we did a student assembly. Corey Lucas, my Uncle Don, James Terrell, Jay Faze, Renita, the whole Better Detroit Youth Movement family. Right, we come out. We even performed the first time. Put your family first.
Wow.
Yep, the first time. Right, we did it right, and we brought out and look on here, Creed Larkin, who used to support our pancake breakfast early in our pancake breakfast journey. So Creed is on, but at Highland Park. Here we are. We come into Highland Park. We do the student assembly, and I make this promise. I talk about the whole, I speak and talk about the whole racism or whatever the case may be. People saw, and it was from there Went back, ventured over to the school a few more times, and then it came to the end of the year. So the message that we delivered early in the year becomes the message that carries with them to the end of the year. So I walk back in the door. I'm walking in the door with Lions, Lions wives, Lion players' wives who were designing uniforms for the NFL now, right? And we walk back in, and we're in there with the Super Bowl guy from Eastern Michigan. I can't think of his name right now, right? And so we all walk in there, and the kids come in. And as soon as the kids see me, all the sophomore class come running out of the stands. Mr. Man. I'm like, what's up? I'm surrounded by all these kids. And they were talking about, man, we did exactly what you said, man. These kids getting into fights and everything. We walked right by them, just like you said, man. And we had a great year. And, we got the whole feedback from there. And Mr. Davis and his people was, very, very receptive. And we walked out of there. But, again, new in the game. I'm up against people who've been in the game more years than I ever had been, who got the contracts, so you can't really get a contract, right? So we continue with the apparel, right? And so I get a call from Jared Davis. I had been praying about it because when we started Future Leaders, we was coming out of the 350 kids, right? We was coming out of the 350 kids. That's how we set up the Future Leaders. So I get the call from Jared. He's like, man, I want you to come over here and take my boys, right? So I come over to Finney, want to walk in, a prayer is answered, right? When I sit down in his office, because he got the sweet little chair sitting in the office to sit down in the office, I say, what's going on, man? How many kids you want me to take? And he said, all of them.
Wow.
I say, all of them? He said, yeah, you got every boy in the school, 9th through 12th grade. They're yours. I look at my man, Tone, I say, because he knew I had been praying, I said, God, next time you give me 250, I promise I'm going to do even better, right? And so we ended up with all the boys from Finney. So the first day, Clarence, Barbara, shout out to Clarence, Tony Franklin, my man Sam come in with the DJ, so we got the DJ booth in the corner. And I invite my man Lynn Sanders, but Lynn sent me a message he couldn't make it, right? And then while we were speaking, Lynn sneak in the back door and surprised me. And so here we are with 250 boys, again, very little support. We don't know where we're going to get the money to do anything, right? We just know we got these 250 boys, so we got to make do with what we do, right? And at the time, I guess there was a mentoring program in there, but the kids was just totally fell in love and went by, after the first day, went by Jared Davis' office, like, make sure bring him back. So here we are, locked in once a month with 250 males. Got the whole school isolated and doing some magnificent things. We brought in managers, businesses, other speakers. We set up a round table where we had tables throughout the gymnasium, and every kid had one male come and talk to them about a specific business or a concept and idea. Then we brought in managers. So we brought in managers, and the managers from what's that place where they do all the tech now? Everybody go crazy. They go there.
Tactile?
Not Tactile. No, it's a store where you buy your computers.
The Apple Store?
Not the Apple Store. Best Buy. So we brought in the managers. Yep, we brought in managers from Best Buy. And this particular day, right, you got kids with tattoos all up their neck. Kids got, early on. I just saw a kid the other day with 12, got a tattoo on his arm. Mama put her name on his arm at 12, right? Everybody was going crazy, right? So the boys, they in the audience, tattoos up the neck, different things. And so this is when they learn that they don't have to have no felonies, but the perception, the fact that you got those tattoos on your neck, you just eliminated yourself from jobs. it's very, very hard to work in the public sector, especially at some place like Best Buy. And you got these tattoos running up your neck, the whole nine. People have a problem and perception. So he was like, you mean to tell me the guys that had all these tattoos, I went and got these tattoos, so I just eliminated myself. I thought this S was cool, the whole nine. So reality set in. Then we did a canned food drive with these kids, and we challenged Renaissance High School, Henry Ford, Renaissance, Southwestern, and Finney. And so my Finney boys, shout out to my Finney boys, man, this was incredible. My Finney boys, I thought they had lost. I walked into the office, Dro, and it's a box with about 4 cans in it. And I was like, oh, okay. I said, I guess Henry Ford, is going to win, right? And Mr. Davis was in a meeting. And I said, well, I got the box. I'm gone. He called my phone. He said, Mr. Mann. That's how he talked. Mr. Mann, you might want to turn it around. I said, what's going on? And out the door come all these boxes to the point it packed up my car. And so I had to make 2 trips. And Finney had 1. So all them boys got Emiy T-shirts, right? I still did something at Henry Ford. That's a whole nother story at Henry Ford. And at the end of the year, we asked all the kids what it encouraged me. I'm young, meaning them. In the video, we never even put out all the video. It was just such a powerful display of what Encourage Me I'm Young was about. And that's when, we were able to share that we're more than just a T-shirt, right, and a brand. We are a movement.
So let me add
yes,
that if you're looking for any of this footage or any of the insights, if you haven't seen them already on Facebook, Calvin's been on Facebook with Emiy for some years, but also you can go to our Emiy TV channel on YouTube. So visit us at Emiy TV on YouTube. Just put it in a search and look at some of the videos. If you really want to see the documentation, the history, and how people's lives have been moved and touched and reached through our work over these last 15 years, that's a really good place to go and visit. So visit us there. And you can also just do a Google search, see what we've been doing, where we've been, because another component that's not directly related to Emiy but still connected to Emiy, for years Calvin and Clarence did a daddy talk and met celebrities and people that most people don't have an opportunity to talk about fatherhood and the impact of fathers on their lives. And I think
it wasn't with Clarence. What we did, me and Clarence, we started Emiy TV, right?
Right.
So Emiy TV, we would pull up, say Dro was at an event. Mm-hmm. We'll pull up, and Emiy TV was all about asking 3 questions, mm-hmm. right? The third question is, if you had any advice for a kid, what would it be? And so that's what we were capturing, was people's advice in the third question.
Okay.
Daddy Talk came in when me and Martin Pratt out of New York, connected on Twitter. And so we were having a conversation because he was a dad, I was a dad, and I was telling him about Good Fathers Only, and we was having a conversation how my future was to take fathers and to have them mentor, right? Mm-hmm. And use that process. And so he was like, man, daddies don't get enough shake, Cal, so what you want to do? He said, I don't know, let's do, because we was on Twitter already having these conversations. That's how Daddy Talk launched. And it was my girl, Miss Williams, who does what's that liquid scent y'all talk about? I forget, that y'all use, that you can cure stuff and it smell good and it's good for your coughs and colds. I forget what y'all call that.
Woodrow seems to know your...
no, I'm just saying. You know it.
And the context.
Right, you know it.
I have no clue.
But, sister, my girls... don't laugh at me.
Can you interpret? That?
I forget what they call it. But it's, when y'all mix stuff and then it's good for your colds. It's good for your skin. You can roll it on. You know what I'm talking about. You know exactly what I'm talking about. The women be selling it all the time. It's what you make your lemongrass up with.
It's oil?
Yeah.
That's...
Right, that oil, you know what y'all be doing. Anyway, what up, Edo?
Hilarious.
Right? So she designed the Daddy Talk logo. And on the Daddy Talk logo is dad in every language around the world.
Yeah.
It's a powerful logo.
It is a powerful logo.
It's a powerful
Well,
logo.
I remember seeing you interview Susan Taylor.
Right, that was me and Clarence.
Okay, so I remember that. So I remember, that's really a icon for the sisters. So.
Oh yes, the winningest debate coach. When I went to speak at Texas Southern University. And that's when I met Dr. Hill. And Dr. Hill and them flew me in because I'm supposed to have this conversation, racism conversation. Right? Because you got a different spin on racism, right? Right? So we're gonna have this racism conversation, and it's the guys with the dreads, the doctors, the Rastafarians, the Noble Drew, all these cats having these conversations around racism. And so they brought me in, and it was for me to speak on racism. What's up, Charlie? And as I'm sitting there, the very first guy, right? Because it's just like where we took our kids to Washington, D.C. Everybody didn't come on that boat, brother, right? Some of us was already here. They washed out the indigenous people, sent them to British islands, whatever the case may be. When slaves were coming in, they was washing out Indians, all of that, right? So this system has been detrimental to anybody with a tan, in America, right? So they having this conversation. And so, the HBCU conversation or the black conversation is just really a perspective where we just take the slavery perspective, and that's the perspective that we give kids, right? Well, kids want to feel good about themselves. When we give the perspective of slavery, we take it from the dramatic portion. And that dramatic portion makes kids feel a certain way. So at Texas Southern, it was diversity in the audience. Right, and so the first guy, he breaks out, doctor, I forget his name. The next guy, the first two guys, they got their doctorate, right? And they having these conversations, and they talking about the ships and when we first was on the ships, and they was going through that process, and I'm sitting there going, wow. And I'm looking at the kids, and the kids are like talking to each other, like, come on, man, give me something new, right? So then it gets to me. And in my back pocket is this poem called What is Black? Right? But it's all set up for me to have this conversation. And so as I'm having this conversation, I say, well, I know this is supposed to be a debate. I'm not really here to debate. I'm just going to give you a little bit of information and maybe you'll understand. We all didn't come on a boat. So you can feel good about that, right? We all didn't come on a boat. And a lot of people didn't make it because of them damn boats. You know what I mean? Which is travesty. So a lot of people sold those people into slavery. It wasn't just, from America's point of view, right? So we understand that as well. How we were treated, travesty, terrible. Get it? The whole nine. But we've done some remarkable things. You gave me a tomato, I turned it into a pasta. You gave me a sheep, I turned it into lamb chops. You know what I mean? Right? You gave us the worst of the pig, we made chitlins, right? And of course, God knows I haven't ate a chitlin since I was 10, so praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. And so when I got their attention. And then I explained to them what is black. And the What is Black poem is such a powerful poem. And I, for the life of me, right, can't put my hands on this poem, but I have it in a video on Emiy TV. And if you go to Emiy TV, it's EMIY TV. Run it all together. That's how you get to us. But in there, talks about all the great things. What is black, right? I ask this because some say black is the N-word. Black is the nappy-headed hoe. Black is these things, right? That's what people call me. I say this is what black is. Black is Oprah Winfrey, Barack Obama, and I start naming the great historical people that we have brought forth out of 14% amongst all of this garbage and these policies that we're handed, right? So if anything to the children, I was able to express about how getting involved to change the policy, we're still preaching the dramatic portion of slavery, and it's almost like you're repeating it, and we don't preach about the successes, in my opinion.
And
In the room,
solutions.
and solutions. And the room lit up. The moderator punches me like, where the hell you come from? The whole room that busts out in a roar. People are coming around this way. And the moderator's like, boom, he fired on me. I'm like, what the? He's like, where you come from, dog? Fired on me again. Man, that was incredible. So as I said, man, don't you hit me again, brother. Right? He like, man, I can't believe it. You know, the whole room is lit. And even the two gentlemen that went before me, right, was giving it up. And I said the whole point is we have to change our philosophies, right? And so that's what we do with Encourage Me, I'm Young. We changed our philosophies.
And so when you think about it, we started this movement, and Calvin was working with young men everywhere from, what was it, from 7 to 17?
Yeah.
From the beginning, you were taking in.
I was just taking them in. We was just taking them in wherever we could get them.
So imagine if they were 7 years old, then 10 years later they're 17, and now we're at an additional 5 years. So they're 17, and 3 is 20, and 2, so they're 22 years old.
Yeah.
So imagine that is how you impact and affect change. That's a 7-year-old that got connected that now is a 22-year-old. Now about the 17-year-olds, right? Those are our men, our husbands, and our fathers. Those are 30-somethings, close to 40-somethings. That's a huge impact on community, on family, and on these ideas. So when you think about Emiy, don't just think about it as a brand in terms of a shirt. We talk about it in terms of a movement, because you have to move lives. You have to put things in people's paths so that they have the choice and the opportunity to receive it and take it to the next level.
Right.
That's why we're intentional about teaching servant leadership. So when you look at servant leadership is really about the we mindset, not the I mindset. So you might have great skills, you may have great gifts, you have all of that, but if it's only about you and your success, you don't have the opportunity to elevate others. And so servant leadership is, how do you take all of that you have and move all of us forward, continuously moving all of us forward, and having the ability to see who's on side of you and bring them forward. And so if that servant leadership says that if I'm an A student and you're a C student, how can I help you become a B and an A student?
Right.
And then giving you the extra, maybe it's just a little more time. Maybe, okay, well, this is where you're making your error. Maybe it's pointing those things out. Or how about I introduce you to my mentor? Those kinds of conversations we have to be about, and just as an adult, we have to be about that type of mindset. If we're really talking about seeing change, we complain a lot about the status of things now, but what are we doing to make it any different? How are we extending? How are we picking up the garbage? We talk about our blight and how trashy and crime-filled our communities are, but what are we doing to change it? If you're only cleaning up your yard, great for you. That's a great place to start, but not to stay. We can't stay that. You have to be able to look to your neighbors and help them when they're falling short, because maybe that is the thing that they needed to have a model or know that somebody else cares. So we have to be about that, and that's what this movement is about. This is how we change each life, teach each life, renew each mindset by doing. And so that's what we're looking to do as we move forward with Emiy. So we're going to talk about our outlook and some of the things. So we talked a little bit about our past, very little bit about our present. So you should see some of the things that have been happening. He mentioned taking our boys to Washington, D.C. this, within the last 2-3 weeks, I believe now. But within the month of May, they had a completion ceremony within the month of May. We've had a lot of positive connections and opportunities for the month of May. That's kind of where we are in our present. What we have coming up in June is we have our all you can I want to say all you can eat so bad. That's not
All you got football camp.
All you got football camp. Not all you can eat. Because that's just my personal favorite. But all you can.
All you got, baby.
All you got. Okay, all you got football camp. So that's one of the things we have coming up in June.
And it's free right now.
Right. So, it's a special offer, though, for the first 100 young people that sign up. And did you mention that it's open? It's open age?
Yes. I mentioned that it's open age. We taking them from 8 to 80, blind, crippled, and crazy. No, that's an old slogan.
No. No, you do have to have a mindset.
8 to 18.
And you also have to be excited about coming to that process. So,
yeah.
And being sponsored and taking advantage of that opportunity to be connected to not just
the first one,
though.
It's the first one. I just got landed in Downriver and made some connections already just today. So, yeah, it's the first one.
So that's awesome. Okay, so where we're going from here, if you've been keeping up with Emiy, you know about our awareness campaign. So you know about our suicide prevention. You know about our Reading is Life campaign. You may know about our literacy movement, which is connected to Reading is Life. But these are also things that we talk about and share. So Calvin is an author. I'm an author too. So the books that we write are about this idea of the restoration of families. So he has a book coming up in June, 15 Things You Don't Know About Fatherhood.
And Things Fathers Should Say. So it's 2 books.
It's 2 books he has coming up. And so I have one coming up called Surgically Altered for women, especially women who have struggled with the shift from divorce, women who have struggled with some female health issues, kind of where the root of all of those things originate and how we move forward. So I have that book coming out that you'll see this summer. We work also in our program with moms. We call them BOSS. That's Building Our Sons. So that is a concept that helps moms interpret some of the things that the boys are learning in the program. And so we kind of support each other. It's high levels of self-care that is a part of that BOSS session. It's information and resources, but most of all, it's how do we learn to mother better than smother. And so as we are watching our boys take these transitions, how do we make sure that they continue to have positive men and male models in front of them? Especially how do we graft their fathers into the picture? So we know that there is a lot of stress between parenting, those who want to co-parent, those who haven't been able to separate relationship from the best interest of the child. So we're constantly helping others to understand that through. We also do personal coaching, private coaching outside of our program. So if there are mothers or sons that need to make those connections, you have us here to be able to do that. If you're a father and you want to learn how to reconnect, then Good Fathers Only is all about that. It's also one of the places where we recruit for our mentors, because our mentors in our programs are fathers, which is an important element, part of our secret sauce that's not so secret. Okay, so again, moving to our outlook. So as we look at 2022, we have a couple of new pilot programs that will be taking place this fall. We'll have the Emiy Elite, which is launching, and that's the 14 to 24-year-olds. Like we talked about that 7 to 17-year-old and where they are now 15 years later. Now we're talking about intentionally helping to guide 14-year-old, that's 9th grade, past high school into college and career pathways. So how do we now start taking those boys who've been in our program for the number of years that we have right now and take them to the next level so that when they're done with this Emiy impact and Emiy influence, that they are the men, husbands, fathers of the community that we have expected and hoped for them to be. So women, this is a really important organization to support. If you have daughters, if you want to see a better quality of men in your community, then you need to be investing in this organization. You can't sit by the sidelines and expect it to happen without participation. So if you have any complaints about men, about husbands, and about fathers, this is your opportunity to change the tide. If you really are looking for that, then invest in the program so that we build strong and healthy men. If they're not being built, then they're not out there to pick from. So keep that in mind.
That's pimping.
And so we also are looking to pilot with our juvenile court system with a pilot program this fall. And so what we're trying to do is work with a small cohort of boys who are missing just some key components that got them involved in some issues that were not healthy for them or for the community.
But not heavy, right? These are minor cases that could be taken into, right? And so we want to intercede before they become serious cases.
Right.
Prevention.
Right. Absolutely, part of our prevention. So we have that coming up in this year. That's our e-pilot. That's our Emiy Elite program. But the other areas that we want you to know is that we believe and have been given this vision for not just Detroit, not just southeastern Michigan, but we have been given this vision nationally. So we have a 10-city plan. And that 10-city plan is folding over time. So we actually had a chance to visit Baltimore, Maryland, which is one of our cities of promise, when we took our boys to the Blacks in Wax Museum when we visited Washington, D.C. So it gave us a glimpse at the communities that are there. We had a chance to drive around and see and get a feel for that particular city and starting to build those relationships. So that's a really important piece. We also had started building relationships in Birmingham, Alabama. We have set up just our outreach area. And so we have that established, and we're continuing to build relationships. So if anybody out there is connected to Birmingham and you want to bring resources to Birmingham, because we know that the problems with our community are everywhere. You can't avoid it, but you can be part of the prevention and intervention strategies. And so our Cities of Promise is just that, an opportunity to be a part of the prevention and intervention strategies, because we actually have strategies for everything that we do. And so that those Cities of Promise are part of that strategy. So our first 3 cities, of course, we have Birmingham, Alabama. Of course, Detroit is amongst those cities. Baltimore, and then I think the next one we're heading to is, are we doing Indiana?
We're going to Puerto Rico first for Victor.
Okay.
Shout out to my guy, mentor, the Latin lover. Man, I got so many memories of him in middle school.
Right.
Right, but yeah, we would go to Puerto Rico.
Okay, so that is one of our next cities of promise that we're reaching out to. And I know some of the cities that, how we select those cities, we look at cities that have a high concentration of boys, a high concentration of boys that need direction and resources. And so in order to move into those cities, we have to continue to build resources, build momentum. Resources for us is people who care, people who give, people who have skills to share. We call that in-kind contributions. People who have connections in those areas. That's what we're looking. People who will champion a city and a community. We need those people. And so the more we do that, the bigger our movement is and the faster we're able to move. And so that's outlook for 2022 and into 2023. Into 2023, as we continue Emiy Elite and our Emiy camps, we are also looking to be a part of and help to manage a recreation facility. So that's in our path, and we're looking to help develop that. That'll be somewhere that's central, where anybody who can get to us and want to be a part of that recreation experience can also participate in our Emiy experience, the Emiy way of doing things. So that's coming up in 2023, in addition to new books coming out, both from Calvin and myself, some books around family, some books around the areas that we participate in and have reached and worked through. So then moving into 2024, we're talking about more expansion into those cities, and we're looking at, by that time, launching our Emiy Empowerment Center. So it is our campaign that we launched in 2020 as a a way to raise funds for our own empowerment center, so we can have our own location where all of the activities that we're talking about, from innovation to meditation to having tournaments and places where safe places where young people can go and also connect with our elders. That's a really important piece in our puzzle as a community that we have forgotten. So you can't forget your history and those who have impacted that history. So we want to make sure that our elders have a place in this whole process of development, because the wisdom is in the experience that they have. Yep. So making sure that we have that safe space for them to come and to have recreation, have activities for our elders and for our boys in particular. Keeping that in mind. So as we move into 2024, 2025, we're looking for those launch. So I think we have a plan up to 2031. So that's, by that time we would have passed the mantle on to the next generation of Emiy leaders. And those leaders, those are young people who are in our programs now, who are, between that 8 to 14 years old. By the time we get to 2031, they should be the ones that are leading. Them and their children should be leading our community. And so, and thanks to Crystal Gunn and her in-reach around financial responsibility and the legacy that we need to build for that generation. Continue with the good work, Crystal. I know you're out there. And everyone that is like her, who knows that the significance of building legacy and the financial base of it, and teaching us how to manage our finances and better utilize and invest in that. So shout out to all of you who are doing that work, and those who are educating our kids and using some new techniques, some new opportunities, and making new pathways, because our kids are trailblazers. And so the more support that we can give them to open up those paths, the more they're able to do. And so I'm excited about seeing what our Emiy future leaders are going to do in the next 10 years and how we're going to continue to support them in that work.
Wow. So, yes, the future is bright. And I got sunglasses, and so do she. And so, really, to get to a place, we're coming into a close, and to share how powerful, where we're constantly talking, writing, and working. I was talking to Bob the other day, Bob is silly, right? But I was talking to Bob the other day. He was like, since I got involved, he was like, it's just always growing. And he said, no one said that overnight success is overnight, right? You just been, working, and you continuously work, and
consistency,
the consistency, right? Which we teach our kids in the mentoring program. You have to be consistent, right? Mm-hmm. Right? Stop looking for the shortcut. There's no shortcuts. If you're looking for a shortcut, you're gonna run into a wall every time. It's a dead end. So, with that being said, it has been tomorrow. We don't know, but if you're following us on Facebook, pay attention, because tomorrow we could be anywhere and invite everybody to come and celebrate with us. Tomorrow is our 15th year. And again, we're excited about that. So I want to take this time to, thank Crystal, who also was the first. We came up with the Emiy Empowerment Center, right? That's when we came up with the Emiy Empowerment Center. When we had the opportunity at UD. Want to thank, Clarence for all the stuff he did prior to, him going on in his own venture. And my cousin, there's a lot of people to thank here.
Right.
But let's talk about, the sponsors. Zach Hart Agency.
Yes.
Huntington Bank, Chase Bank.
Ed Life.
Man,
JDJ Consulting.
JDJ Consultant.
Steps for Success.
NABWIC. National Association of Black Women in Construction, who is a strong partner. Yes. Has jumped in and become literally overnight a very strong partner with us. Chief White. Going forward. Officer Bedison, Teferi Brent. Otis Bellinger, Quan Fish. We've had some people, Kim Newhouse, and all my Ferndale alumni that people went to school with me.
Calvin Colbert, Detroit Impact,
Calvin
always bringing us
Colbert.
in. Sanaa Joy, Center of Her Power, always grafting us in and providing resources.
Yeah. Your girl Donna Harris.
Oh, yeah, Donna Harris, keeping us on community perspectives, talk show.
Derek, Heavy D.
Yeah.
Davis.
Yes, AV
Right.
Tech.
All our mentors.
Stacy Hunter, who you mentioned.
Yeah. Juan.
Yes.
DeJuan
Dave
Carlton.
Patterson.
Dave Patterson. Victor. Like.
Oh, Terry Davis, too. That's part of Victor's church ministry.
Yeah. Their church. Most definitely shout out to Rosedale Park Baptist Church.
Yes.
Heyman Cross. And his
Dorothy
administration.
and Renee.
Dorothy, Renee.
Yes.
Right? Our home at Rosedale Park Baptist Church. Shout out to New St. Paul.
Councilman Tate.
Councilman Tate.
Supporting us over the years. Stephanie Young.
Yes.
Supporting us.
You can't stop
India.
Bell.
Yes. Commissioner Alicia
Bell.
Yeah.
Bert.
Yeah. Leland Burt.
Not Leland Burt. I forget Bert's last name, but Bert, he the one
Got
closest
us for the state.
For the state.
Yes.
So just Senator Burt, we gonna leave it there. And you're talking a shout out to my man Jeff Holmes and out there in Seattle, the Shadow.
Greg and his wife in Grand Rapids.
Yes.
The Ventons.
Cornell, my cousin Charles Johnson in Utah. Like, we can go on and on. Ty Grizel, consistently, just we can go on and on. Raheem Anderson's, the
Chris Davis,
all the families that allowed us to mentor their kids and to be a difference in their lives. So
my family, always supporting.
Right, my children, same thing. My brother Curtis, always there.
Yeah.
I mean, even the time when we did Bury the N-Word, when Kwame was in all, this is a great story. So me and Kareem, we sitting up front. This is when Kwame gonna say something about Barack Obama not being dark enough, right, in front of all the media. And so me and Kareem looked at each other. I get up. I seen my man stand up. I forget his, what is his name in New York? I forget his name right now, but he stood up and he went to the microphone. He said, well, I gotta go. And he turned and he left. He always showing up when it's about, I forget his name right now. It's leaving me. But he's walking out. Oh, Reverend Al, right? Al Sharpton. So I get up and I'm walking behind and say, Reverend Al. He say, not right now, Calvin. I say, hey, man, did you hear what that guy just said? He said, man, I ain't got nothing. And kept walking. Walked right out the door. And me and my brother was laughing, right? And just him being there. And witnessing those things, it's just been incredible. All the kids, the Deontay Allens who literally opened up their field where we're getting ready to host our first football camp.
Some of the young people who've made a difference too. Our young scientists.
Oh yes, Isaiah. Isaiah. It was on the cover of Inventors magazine. We got. We got Kayvon at Iowa. Mm-hmm. Raheem is at Michigan. Mm-hmm. Kamari getting ready to go up out of here. And then we got a few more kids to come behind them. But more importantly, thank you. Those of you, no problem, Jeff. Love you too, bro. Those of you who know and understand that this work, it takes work. And the people that have donated consistently, your 10s and your 5s, you can sign up right now on our website for a consistent donation of $10, $5, whatever the case may be. It'll come out every month. If you got a business, you want us to come in, we can get your business signed up, all the employees signed up to donate monthly to what we do. But more importantly, thank you, right? Thank you for allowing us to supporting us enough that we can get 15 years of this.
And just to say, over this time, we actually, from this 15 years, we were able to generate over $1.5 million. So we're talking about those twos and fews. We're talking about the time that's been given. We talk about donations that have been given. So it takes a village, And so because of you, we're able to continue this work.
Yeah.
But it's not over, and we still need you. We still need those
Right.
twos and fews. We still need to keep moving.
And we about to drop another music video. We got to help. And so I appreciate you. Love you too, Marvin. I see you. You sure can. And love you, Miss Heather, for joining. And you didn't have to. And all this time, you got involved from friendship to family. You know, I appreciate you.
And one more shout out. I just want to recognize Patricia Dockery of Stafford House, who for me is a trailblazer with boys and helping through her career, helping black boys in particular, and who have been accused and were in the system, caught up in the system, black men, 2 boys. That were caught up in the system, and her work as an attorney to make sure that she represented them fairly and that they got the right type of representation over these years of her career, and what she's done with the Stafford House and taking young men in and helping them find their way. So I want to really honor her because she is a model of that work.
Okay. Right. Fifth Third Bank, Jason Paulatier.
Yes, absolutely.
Cindy over at Brilliant Detroit. You know what I mean? We can go on.
Yes.
We really appreciate all the support, and we thank you. We're going to sign off here. Remember, no matter what you do, no matter how far you go, no matter what it takes, always put your family first. Peace.
And now we have our destiny to be the best that we can be. To build ourselves and our family. To your every future future. Our future is shaped by you and me. We pray, we help, we listen and see. We support, we encourage, and change and see. We are here to continue. Encourage one another.